In this video, I'm gonna try to combine my love for photography as well as fantasy. So hopefully, create some cool photos, and best of all, you get to watch the whole process. Make sure you watch till the end to see the final result. Alright, so I love fantasy and I love magic, so much so that not only do I have all the Harry Potter movies on DVD, I also have all the books, not only in Danish, but also in English as well. And not only do I have one, but 2 copies of the Lord of the Rings trilogy on Blu-ray. So that being said, I would love to create some cool fantasy-inspired photos. Could be in a medieval setting with some cosplayer, maybe a knight or a wizard or an elf or something like that. And then maybe using some colored light in order to create some magical effects. But before I can do anything, I need to find a model who hopefully has a cosplay of some sort and are down to do this. As well as I need a cool location to shoot. I would love to find something like a ruin or like some wild nature. Unfortunately, we don't have much of that in Denmark, so that's gonna be kind of a challenge. So I think for now, I'm gonna focus on finding a model and let future me handle the location and stuff, yeah. I'll try to text a few people that I know are cosplayers and see if any of them are down. Hopefully I find someone who's down, but if you're watching this, I probably did, so let's just... Alright, so it's been a few hours. I've been talking to a few people here and I think I found one that might be interested. Her name is Camilla. Sent me this photo right here with some ears and some different villain-ish outfit. She seems up for it, so that's cool. Now we need to find a place. We're talking a little bit about doing something by a lake or some forest and something. She sent a few inspirational photos as well here. Something where she's in the forest, something down in the water maybe. I got a few photos in mind just from what she's been sending me. So I think the next step is to find the time and the location to shoot. And hopefully we can do that in the next couple of days. And now we are out here today on a very cloudy day. And I am here with Camilla. She's gonna be the model. She's also a cosplayer and she has some lovely elf ears that we're gonna do something with today. I have a few things here that I'm gonna use. I have an aquarium and a couple of tripods and some lighting, and I'm gonna do some different effects. You have some very blue contact lenses as well. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm very excited to show you how I'm gonna do this, and hopefully it goes well. So let's just see. Okay, so the first shot here, we have Camilla standing down there. And then I'm gonna use these greeneries as a foreground element as well. And I'm trying to frame her on the bottom half of the frame. Beautiful. Så vi skal bare prøve sådan også at komme op på tæerne. Så må egentlig gerne lave nogle lidt sådan hurtigere bevægelser rundt, fordi kameraet skal nok fange det. Jeg vil gerne prøve at sådan kigge op i himlen også. Perfect!
Perfect! Amazing! Great!
So we got the first one, I think. We got a couple of different angles. I'm gonna have to check it out at home. But I think we got some good ones there. Now I got my light here with a blue gel on it. We just tested it out and it just gives her a blue hue on her hands, which I can use when I'm photoshopping, doing some magic stuff in her hands there. As well as we get to see her eyes. I am shooting again on my Sony a6500 with my Tamron 28 to 75mm, and I think this one is gonna be at 75, which means I have to stand back. So I'm gonna change this. You have these hands a little further back so you get the blue on the inside here. Perfect. Nice. So before we get into the water, I think we're gonna do a quick shot here where she's laying on the bench. It's a photo I did a few years back after watching a Peter McKinnon video. So I'm gonna try to do that a little better this time, but we will see. Back. Your hair has to be on the bench.
Alright. I don't know, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, so this arm is like up here. So that one is up here. Then you come down.
job.
Thanks. What
Alright.
did you do today? I laid on
Little interesting. Now it's time for us to use the aquarium, which means I have to take off my shoes and get in the water. So let's just... So right here I have the aquarium with my camera on top of the towel just to make sure if any water gets in, the camera doesn't get wet. I'm just gonna go into the water and I'm gonna put the aquarium down and hopefully get some nice lines right against the glass here. So let's see. I think we got that one. There was a lot of cool photos. I got back to my computer, I uploaded all the photos into Lightroom and I picked out a few that I think we can look at together so you can see the different photos that I'm going for. I'm trying to create almost like a whole story throughout all the photos, but let's just check them out. As you can see here, we have the first one where you're standing near the forest here on the small road. And this one I already tried to throw on a preset on just to see if I liked it. But looking at the two photos here, I think I'm gonna have to go with the first one, simply because you get to see the ears and the eyes, where on the second one you barely get to see the eye, and you don't even get to see the ear at all, so you don't actually know if it's a woman or it's an elf. The next one I found here, I only picked this one. This was by far the coolest, and as you can see here, you can really like see the blue tones here on her hand, as well as her eyes, which were just amazing. I was actually already thinking about doing something to her eyes in Photoshop, maybe do some cat eyes or something like that. But when we met up, she had already put them in, and as you can see, they just look amazing. Let's see, here we have two different photos for her floating. One where the leg is a little more pointy, and one where the leg is a little more bent. I can see which one will work the best. And then I have this photo here, which could be for her floating, or this one could be one for where she's floating. I think maybe the tree here will take too much of the attention, so maybe this one is a little more simplistic and easier to do something with. And then we have something in the water here, and as you can see, the effect I get from using the aquarium, firstly I can get very close to the water here without worrying about my camera at all, which were so nice. But secondly, you can see it almost gets this glowiness effect, kind of what you get with a misty filter, which personally I like very much. These are just photos that I've picked out. Now I'm gonna go through them once again just to see which ones I'm gonna use. I think of the two first here, even though I like her positioning here, holding the leaves and stuff, I can do something with that. I do believe I'm gonna go with the first one, so we're just gonna set that to 3. Of course, this one is gonna be number 3. Maybe create like a magic glowy orb in her hand. Do some reflections in her eyes, as you can see if we're going in here, all the way here. You can actually see the lamp right here, so I know what I'm going for. So the glowy effect should be right around here. And again over here somewhere. That's perfect. I think I prefer the second one with the straight legs more. And that's simply because on the second photo here, we don't see much of the sole of her foot. So we don't see all the dirt she's been walking in. So that's just to make it easier for me. I think I'm going to use this one for the background. And this one is cool. We could do maybe some water effect and stuff going up around. Then again, you could do that with this one as well. But I think I'm going to choose this one because it just looks very magical here, if that makes sense. Just this beautiful glow on her. And we have all the wind in the hair and we can see her ear. And I'm gonna, of course, go in and I'm gonna fix up the colors and the tones and just make it look natural. So I think we got the 5 photos in total that I'm gonna use for this one. I think now I'm just gonna go and edit the photos a little bit before I'm gonna throw them into Photoshop. And then we can move on from there. Alright, so the look I'm going for is a muted green, a little bit of a softer look that fits with the Elven vibe, I think. And I'm doing a little bit of a different edit for each photo just because they were taken in different locations. And here we go. I think I have all the photos ready for Photoshop. I've gone through and made the basic corrections and now they should all match, which just gives me a great baseline for me to work from. So we're ready and I'm gonna take the first one here and I'm gonna edit in Photoshop. I think I'm gonna use the beta. I've been playing around a little bit with the AI. I think maybe we can use it for a little bit. Here we have it. As you saw, the first day was very cloudy and it rained a little bit. So the first thing I'm gonna do is try and create a beautiful sky here. I'm gonna use the AI for that. Then I think I'm gonna put in some leaves blowing around in the wind. And I think I'm gonna create a little bit of magic from her fingers just to make it match a little bit with the next photo. And while I could just sit here and talk all about what I'm gonna do with the photo, I think we should just get going.
Alright, so I'm starting with generating some different skies using the AI, which I think actually worked really well. Then I'm adding in some flower petals, which didn't really work out, but I like to try it. But instead I'm adding in some particles, which I am coloring blue, just to create some magical feel, which I didn't actually use later on. And then I'm just trying to find some smoke for the background to create a misty effect. I'm creating a black layer in the background and a white layer in the front, and then I can use those two in order to create some depth in the mist. And then of course I'm making a hue, and then I'm just cutting out the front grass. Now I'm shifting my focus on to creating the magic from her hands. I am trying to make some magic come out from her fingers. And don't worry, I'm not forgetting the last finger. And I'm doing this with a little bit of a glow effect, and I'm trying to make a smear in order to make it look like the magic is going behind her. Then I'm adding in some particles that I'm using as a like detail in the back, as well as painting in some blue light. I'm pouring in a lens flare, which I'm also coloring blue, and then I'm using warp in order to create this warbly effect. I'm using this for all her fingers as well as her eyes. I'm also brightening up her eyes a little bit in order to make them seem a little more magical. Then I'm also adding in a lens flare from the sky as well as some smoke for the front. I'm trying a few different ways here and tinting it a different color, but I think I'm gonna go with a little more greenish, darkish color for the final one. And then I'm creating some blue light on her, and then I'm trying to create a little more magical effect around her, which I'm gonna do with a smear here, in order to make the particles seem like they're stretching out the further back they are. Then I'm painting in some blue light in order to make it seem a little more magical, and just fading that in. Then I'm going to try to throw in some particles and tint green to make it look like leaves, but that didn't work, so I'm just going to throw in some normal leaves. And I'm just testing out placements for the leaves here. I'm going to do 2 different sizes, create some middle ground and some foreground elements. And then I'm just adding in some smaller leaves that fits with the tree she's standing near. I'm going to place those all around her and make sure that she's not covered by any of them. Then just make sure to blur everything correctly so it looks good. And finally, I'm just going to clean everything up, and there we go.
Last night it got pretty late, so that means that I'm gonna finish up today instead. And to show that, I just thought we can change up the background to something else. But here we are. I did finish the first photo yesterday, and as you can see here, the before and after. A lot of different things are happening. We got some mist in the background here. We have some magic from her hand going all the way above her, as well as from her eyes. We have some leaves blowing in the wind, both some small ones and some big ones. And we got a beautiful sunset sky. I think it looks really cool. And hopefully, with all the other photos, it's gonna look amazing. Right, so let's go to the next one. With this photo, I'm gonna have to create like a light ball right here. Magic orb of some kind. I also have to remove the light stand as well as the light, and I have to remember to put in the reflections and maybe bring over some of the leaves that we used before, simply just to tie everything together. So let's just do that, and just like last time, I'm going to speed everything up and I'm going to talk to you about everything I'm doing. Alright, so let's just go.
Alright, so the first thing I did was just to remove the lamp, and then I'm going in and I'm just cleaning up her skin. She didn't really need much cleaning up, but because she has to look like an elf, I thought I would do it anyways. Then I'm going to start doing the magic by creating a flame using the flame render, putting the hue blue, and then creating a glow effect. Then I'm adding a little bit of a blur. Then I'm going in with an exposure and brightening everything up that I need to be brightened. And then going in with a blue hue, make it look like it's shining. Then I'm adding in some particles as well as a lens flare, just to create some more details. Then I'm going for the eyes. I'm trying a few different ones, but I think I'm just gonna paint them on. And then I'm just using liquify in order to smear them up. I'm also adding a few more particles in order to make it more detailed, and remembering to turn everything blue.
Then I'm making the reflection in the eyes. You can barely see them, but they look really cool. Then just adding in some black smoke in the background to make it fit with the last image. As well as adding some leaves. In this photo I'm using 3 different sizes. Small ones for the background, some for the midground, and some bigger ones for the foreground. Then I'm just adding a lens flare again, and remembering to blur everything out. Now I'm doing the final bit of magic for her hands. I'm again painting in some light from her fingertips, and then I'm using a lens flare to create lines directly into the orb. And then I'm using liquify to smear them around. And everything together, and there we go! And directly into the next photo. Here we have 2 photos that we are combining. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove the background from her. And this was actually really tricky because it was taken outside, so I didn't really have a good background to remove, which meant that I basically had to do everything manually. The trash can actually cut out a little bit of her leg, so I had to fix that as well. Then I went in and made a mask of her ear and changed the hue in order to make it fit with her skin. Then just used clone stamp in order to feather out the lines so you couldn't really see that. Then I brought it down to size, which just made a few more problems. We got these black lines that I had to remove again. And I realized that I forgot a little bit on her hand, so I had to go in and remove that as well. Now she is basically ready, which meant I could start with the magic. I started with a few particles here, and then a lens flare, which I again turned blue. Then I created another flame here, and I just played around until I found one I liked. Again changing that to blue, and creating some glow effects on that. Then I created some blue light on her as well. And then I created this ripple effect underneath her in order to make it seem like she is maybe moving the water a little bit, even though from this angle it's very hard to see. Then I also created this mist slash rain, something coming from her, which just makes it seem like she's floating a little bit more. And then again, I added some leaves here. I wanted them to wrap around her, which meant I had to copy it multiple times, as well as I had to remove a lot of the leaves, because I only had the one photo and I didn't want it to seem like it was just the same again and again. Then I'm going back into the magic in order to fix it up. I'm doing some different blurs here and adding a few more particles. And of course I'm doing a little bit of magic from her eyes. And then I'm taking that, copying it, and making a reflection in the water, blurring it out, and actually trying to see where it fits. It was very hard with this one. There were so many ripples in the water and I was so close to it that it was basically impossible for me to see where it should go. Then I added a lens flare, softened it up, and added a little more of a highlight on the reflection, and there we go. So that's the third done. This one I had a lot of trouble with the orb. Because I'm so close to the water here, it's very hard to make the reflection. I just got something that I think looks okay. That means that we only have one photo left, so let's just keep going. So on this one I wanted to do some smearing in order to make it seem like her soul kind of leaving her body. As you can see here, it looks really weird now, but with a blur and a softener, and actually it looks kind of cool. Then I'm going in to fix the ear here.
This was a little bit more difficult. I had to paint it out myself. Changing the hue and softening everything up so you can't really see the lines. Then I'm starting on the magic again. Again, we're going with a blue one, using a round lens flare as well as some particles, tinting them blue and using some blur. And then I'm using some bigger particles here to go towards her. Then I'm creating some blue light on her and removing it from the shadows so it looks more natural. Something like that. And then I'm trying to create some particles almost going into her, almost like magic is trying to absorb her. And then I'm adding another smear here. Then I'm trying to create some different magic glow from her eyes. I'm trying to paint it in. Here it takes me a few tries, but I think I got it. And I'm also adding a lens flare here in order to make it seem a little more magical. Then I also tried to warp the water, which didn't go over well. It looked very odd, so I just scrapped that. Then I added in some mist for the background. And of course I removed it from the tree, which I'm going in to fix later, so it doesn't look so weird. Then I went to work on the reflection, which were a little bit easier this time because I was a little more above water. So I think I got that. Then I tried to do something crazy. I tried to make it seem like the magic is almost warping the world around it, so it makes this weird bubble effect behind it. Then I added the lens flare and softened that. And then I just fixed the tree. And finally I created a flame in order to make it fit with the rest of the photos. And add the glows and the blur. And there we go. Finally, I'm just going through here and making them all seem like they work together. Doing a color grade that makes all photos seem like they fit together. And fixing up any mistakes that I find. I'm done and I am so happy with these. Oh my god. I think they're all very unique, but they also fit together very well, which was exactly what I was going for. So pleased with this. I am definitely gonna do this again sometime, so hit subscribe. But before I go, I would love to hear what you guys thought about this. Do you think I made any mistake? If so, hit me up in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.